Welcome to In It to Win It. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. Thank you for allowing us to do work that we find meaningful. And thank you for giving us the most valuable commodity you have, your attention. We promise to do our very best to give you a return on it. Today, we have my life coach on the show, Alan Lotman. Alan and I have been working together for over 15 years. Alan has a knack for getting down to the root issue and helping us achieve our highest potential. He's helped me with my business, my career, and even in my personal life, and he may be of help to you. At the end of the show, Alan is offering a free gift to you. Stay tuned for that. Alan, thank you for coming on the show.
Great to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yes. We started working together, I think over 15 years ago. And one of the things that drew me to you was I met a gal at a speed dating event, and we were, in those you have to talk really quick within 3 minutes or so. And we ended up talking about stretching. And I was like, I've had this knot in my hip for as long as I can remember. And no matter how much I stretch, I can't get it out. And she's like, you need to talk to Alan. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. What is he a stretching expert? And she said, no. She said, I'd be willing to bet that no matter how much you stretch that, it'll never go away. And it's probably some event that happened, earlier in your life. And that's where you've been storing it. And that sent me down a rabbit hole. That's when I met you. And it's been an amazing road in the process. And anyways, I thought that I know the work that you do, and I know how helpful it is, and it has been for me. And if anyone else can benefit from this, then I want to get it out to the world. So thank you for coming on the show, Alan. Maybe you can give us a little bit of a kind of a snippet of what you do.
Yeah. I have been a life coach. I call it a soul coach because I really get people out of their mind and into their heart, living from who they truly are, genuinely are. And my philosophy or my thinking is that the mind is programmed. It's everything that's there already has been programmed from something outside of us, from our parents and influential people like teachers, social media. We've had all that programming of what's good and what's bad. So we're kind of born into a life that's already kind of set up for us, the good bad system and all that. We didn't get to vote. So with my work, you really check in your body and see if how you're living your life really supports you individually, or if it's just part of the bigger picture of what everybody's doing to fit in. And a lot of, like you were speaking about physical pain, a lot of times when we hold emotional stuff in the body, there's ways during a breathwork session to physically release those pains from your body, and they don't come back. Usually you'll get to some trauma or issue that you've had in the past, or just resentment or things that people hold on to in general. But yeah, for the last 35 years, I've been getting people out of their head and into their hearts. And I really love the work I do.
Yeah, that first experience for me was pretty incredible because for as long as I can remember, I always walked with my right foot turned out slightly. You know what I mean? Like both feet weren't in line, and one was always kind of out, exactly like my father, right? And I after doing the session with you, you almost kind of put get your client into a kind of a hypnotic, relaxed state, and with the breathing technique that you do, it allows you to kind of breathe into wherever that physical pain is, where if it's in your lower back, your neck, or for me, it was in my right hip. And once I kind of was able to like quiet my mind and get into that, it came from when I was a little kid and I got spanked by my father. And I misinterpreted that as a kid, in a way that as a 7-year-old would interpret that his dad wasn't proud of him. And I literally had been living my life trying to prove something that I didn't need to prove. And as soon as I was able to let that go, I walked out of that session with now both my feet were turned perfectly in line, and they have been ever since. And that's when I realized, okay, this guy knows what the heck he's doing. I want to do more of this because now that this major pain has gone away, I feel that I got a pain up here in my shoulder or my lower back.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're describing, Steve, is that we've all kind of had some trauma or some issues, relationship breakups. We feel emotions, and those emotions have energy. And if that energy doesn't pass naturally through our body, sometimes it'll get triggered somehow, or we'll really react to it, and that energy gets stuck somewhere in the body. And we hold that sometimes for many years. Some people get back surgery thinking that it's an injury, but it's really an emotional pain that they've been carrying for many years. So I've had people have slipped discs go back into place, perfect alignment. Our body's out of balance when we're not being authentic to our true selves. It's kind of like if we're pretending or trying to fit in with people or people pleasing, that kind of a thing, the energy in the body feels it. It feels unnatural. So whatever during the breathwork session, when you said kind of hypnotic state, I would call it a meditative state, because when you get out of your mind and you're not really in that thinking state, our awareness heightens with what's going on in our body. And when we can physically find those areas, the body has more memory than the mind. So we start to look at those areas since our mind's not distracting us or controlling us. And that memory in the body will tell us the event. If it's something that brings up sadness or anger or frustration, there's a way to communicate that out of the body. And when you communicate it, the body doesn't know age and time. So it's like that person who maybe bullied you as a kid, or that person who got abused in some way, physical, sexual, any kind of abuse issues, verbal, that anger that they took in got stuck in the body. So most people are walking around trying to numb the discomfort on a daily basis, and they don't have full access to their self-expression. The minute you go into that meditative state and you're guided into those areas, your body will tell you, and then you can finally feel those emotions that maybe at 5 years old you didn't know how to feel. And because the body doesn't know age and time, like I said, it's as though it's being released right now. You can feel the physical pain leave your body, and those toxins get released, and people drink a lot of water to flush them out. But it's actually a really great system, because anything we're carrying is baggage. So it's about letting it all go. And I set up a safe environment, and over the phone is just as powerful as an in-person session.
Yeah, I when I first met you, we lived I don't know 40 miles apart or something, and I would just go to your office and we'd do the session there. And I was a little skeptical because I mean, I got to give you credit for this. You're doing exactly what you want to do, and you're living your life exactly where you want to. Simply because of we're being respectful of your neighbor, instead of having you out on the back your balcony with the beautiful serene Thailand beach background. We're being respectful of your neighbor here, but you're actually living your life and doing it in the way you want. And it's just really, really powerful work. And I can't say enough good things about it. And I look forward to our sessions every month. And I have been for 15 years. They've been extremely helpful. And, you know, you also have a knack for, the first, I don't know, 5 minutes of the phone call or something. You just kind of listen to what it is that, what's the reason that we're calling you. And you really have this knack for just like kind of picking out the BS and realizing like, okay, this is what their brain is telling them is the issue, but we know that there's something deeper under the surface, and you just have this skill of being able to pick it out.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, actually, what I call that is I'm very connected to the energy. It's almost like people can tell you anything, and it could be a lie and all that, but it's the energy that you feel from people that tells the whole story. And I've been really grateful that I'm blessed to be able to translate that energy I'm feeling. And I'm not afraid to tell people when they're full of shit, or not afraid to tell people that maybe it's time to let go of that, you know, anger, that resentment. Let the ex go already, like it's enough. So it's all about getting freedom in the body. And the reason we don't have the freedom is we hold secrets, lies, gossip. You know, you're talking behind people's back and then pretending to be their friend. All that energy of full of shitness lives in the body. And part of my work's like taking a vacuum cleaner and just pulling that out and living from your heart, living genuinely, the way that it works for you. Yes, I do live in Thailand. I have a beautiful view of the yachts and that kind of thing. And I did create it. I also believe that our speaking is what makes our reality. So we have to not talk about something about, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to lose on this investment again because last time. We have to just really let go of all that past. And we do it from the body, not from the mind. The mind is not designed to figure out your life. And people go to it as an advisor. It's really just programmed by everything externally. So even though we relate to it like it's us, most of what's up there was learned from external sources. And we're just told to believe it, you know, like soldiers. And there's certain things that don't work for us, just like certain foods some people like and others don't. That's kind of life. We have to be true to ourselves and live our purpose. I left a marriage of 39 years to live my dream and serve my purpose. And my purpose is to teach people to love themselves and be fully self-expressed. And I know you're in the finance business. So, you know, we need to be aware of that energy in our body. Maybe all that feeling that feels like excitement by now is like a stop sign, like, no, don't do it. So our body is a lot more accurate as a measuring tool than our mind, because who knows who's talking to us? That committee up there can be very complicated. So it's about simplifying life and getting real with yourself. And when you can do that, miracles and magic happen every day. And you know that, Steve, because you're living proof.
Well, thank you. Yeah, one of the biggest tips I got from you from my training and now what I do on the show is about, I don't know, maybe 90% of the time a trade or a buy of a stock is kind of a no-brainer. There's not much of a decision. It's
Yeah.
fairly obvious. But maybe 1 out of 10 times, 10%, there is a real decision, and I'm not sure what it is. And the time window is closing. You know, the market closes at 1 p.m. my time, and it's 12:50, and I need to make a decision because when this news gets out, it's going to go one way or the other. And one thing I've done and learned from you is when you're feeling kind of that nervous energy, just go into your bedroom and scream into a pillow and get that angst out. And every time I've done that, I have the answer. And it's
Yeah.
from a clear, calm, collected state, not one of anxiety or being rushed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call it like hitting the reset button, because that noise gets so loud in your head that you feel controlled by it.
Yeah.
And since it's not who we truly are, if we listen to it, we're just as crazy as it is. So sometimes you gotta grab a pillow and just scream into it. That is one of the tools. And that's like a reset button. It's like clear. Then you can feel your body. Then you can really be with it. Like, am I being called to make this investment? Or is it just kind of like a gambler's reaction because of that energy in my body? So I really get people in touch with their body and how to use it to win, how to use it to get things out of the way and get things out of it. So you can see the truth, because a lot of what lives in the mind is a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Alan. What if you said before the show you're going to offer a free gift.
Yes, yes. The first 5 people that requested, I'd love to give a free 15-minute coaching session and really see if it's something that works for you, or if you'd like to maybe do a group of sessions together or get in the coaching program yourself. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. I am, as a supporter of Steve, also a supporter of his show, and willing to give back some to Steve for being so amazing and having me on. And when you hear his energy, when you see his light shining on his face, that's somebody who's really living by his heart. He's not carrying stuff around or lying or that. He's telling the truth, and it shows. And that's why you guys love to show up for his show every time. And that's why I love Steve like a son, and that's who he's been for me. And I'm really honored that you had me on. I'll probably cry, but that's part of feeling who you are. So
Yes.
thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But it's pleasure's all on this side of the table, sir. You've influenced my life a lot. If there's any way I could give back and reciprocate, and maybe people can win from watching this, then that's what we're here to do. So to the first 5 people, if you want to schedule a free 15-minute phone call with Alan, his email is pinned in the comment below. And as a gift of gratitude, Alan has agreed to offer you a special price and sponsor the show. And thank you, Alan, for coming on the show. Really, I love you, man.
I love you too, Steve. And do remember there's a 15-hour time difference in Thailand. So best time for me to call you when you sign up for your session would be in the morning, sometime, actually your afternoon or evening. So anytime after 5 p.m. California time would be my work day. That would be 8 a.m. in the morning the next day. So we can schedule that. Any questions you have, any concerns, any issues that you'd like to know about, if you can let go of it, any physical pain that you think may be emotionally related, like you didn't have an accident to get that pain, just reach out. I'll be happy to ask any questions, even if the first 5 spots fill up. So yeah, thanks for having me, Steve. I really love you, and I love your show and what you're doing for people. You're really making a difference, and you're doing it in a fun way. And everybody listening today, you're really lucky. Keep following this guy. It works.
Well, thank you, Alan. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe, support the show, and share this with anyone that you think needs to hear it. You have yourself a great rest of the day, and we will talk to you next time.